Hey, Madam Manaji, morning. Okay, so I want to welcome us to today's analysis. Today is Monday, the 16th of December, 2024. Now, there are quite a number of fundamental events for today and also for this week. We just look briefly at the important ones and we go to the technicals. Now, today, virtually all the news today are important, and there are quite a number of them, like I said earlier. The first one will start from 9:15 a.m. That is exactly 2 hours from now. We have the French Flash Manufacturing PMI, French Flash Services PMI, and a speech from President Lagarde from the European Central Bank. All of them comes up by 9:15 a.m. Then 30 minutes after, there will be German Flash Manufacturing PMI, German Flash Services PMI, and ECB President Lagarde will give another speech again by 9:35 a.m. Uh, that's a 9:32. It will be the German Flash and German Flash Services and German Flash Manufacturing, and 9:35 will be the ECB President Lagarde speech, and 10 a.m. again the Eurozone again, Flash Manufacturing PMI and Flash Services PMI. So between 9:15 and 10 a.m. we'll have a lot of news from the Eurozone about eight news events from the Eurozone. So let's take note. So a lot of volatility is expected on the Euro pairs, within this allotted time. And by 10:30 a.m., there will be the flash manufacturing PMI and the flash services PMI from the United Kingdom. This will affect the GBP pairs. And by 2:30 p.m., the Empire State Manufacturing Index from the United States. 3:45 p.m., flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI from the United States also. That's for today. Then for tomorrow, the important events for tomorrow will be the CPI from Canada. This is a major event for tomorrow. That'll be the card CPI, median CPI, trim CPI, common CPI, all of them from Canada. That's the major event for tomorrow, Tuesday, and it will come up by 2:30 p.m. Simultaneously, this will happen with the core retail sales and the retail sales from the United States. These are the major events for tomorrow, as in very tradable and volatility expected. And on Wednesday, the key event for Wednesday is the CPI again from the United Kingdom, which will affect the GBP pairs. Other events too will happen, which will move the market from the dollar from the United States. We have building permits, crude oil inventories, federal funds rates, FOMC FOMC economic projection, FOMC statement. All this will also lead to a lot of volatility on the dollar. That's from 2 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. On Thursday, the important events will be the monetary policy summary, MPC official bank rate votes, and official bank rates. That talks about the interest rate that will come up in the United Kingdom by 1 p.m. on Thursday. Now, other events that are equally important is the final GDP, unemployment claims, final GDP price index, and Philly Fed manufacturing index, and existing home sales. These are the important events for Thursday. And finally, on Friday, the key event for Friday will be the core retail sales, retail sales from the United Kingdom by 8 a.m. in the morning. Then in the afternoon, there'll be the core retail sales and retail sales from Canada. Those are the two major events for Friday. These are the two major events for Friday. So I want us to take note of all these events. So back to the ones we have today, we have the Eurozone experiencing or expecting news from 9:15 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. We're going to check it all on the technical. So we're looking at the euros, we're looking at the pound and the dollar for today. These are the three currency pairs, currencies that will have a major expectation of impact from the fundamental analysis. So I'll switch over now to my MetaTrader and we'll look at the specific pairs. Now, because of all these news that are coming up today, I would say that today the market will be more fundamental driven, and as such, you should look out for more fundamental opportunities compared to technical, because it's like we have all this news virtually throughout the day. So the emphasis will be more on trading the fundamentals for today. So we start with the Eurozone. For the Eurozone, I'll be looking at the Euro AUD and the Euro New Zealand. Those are the two pairs I'll be looking at for the news from the Eurozone this morning. And for the Euro AUD, I hold a bearish outlook, and these are my reasons. Now, if you look at the Euro AUD on the daily time frame, we can see that I can draw a trend line between this region to have a descending trend line, which gives me a bearish outlook. And at the same time, there's also a resistance zone here. And I tell you that this is a kind of a confluence, having a descending trend line and a resistance. Both of them are pointing us in a bearish direction for the euro pair, for the euro New Zealand currency pair. If we flip down to the 4-hour time frame, what I'm seeing being formed here is a shoulder, a head, and a second shoulder. That's the head and shoulder pattern, which is equally a bearish pattern. So on the daily, we have a bearish expectation. On the 4-hour, we equally have a bearish expectation. I may just draw a trend line here to just also signify our expectation of a breakout. So I'm looking at selling the Euro AUD. So if all the Euro news comes out bad for the Euro, then that would trigger a bearish movement on the Euro AUD. So if you have a red, red, red scenario all through, then you can comfortably sell the Euro AUD. So we're bearish on the Euro AUD for today. Even though this setup is a forward, that means it's a swing. So that means the effect will actually run through the entire week, possibly. But then we're looking at an opportunity to sell if the news comes out so that the actual is less than forecast or bad for the euro generally across board. And aside the Euro AUD, I'm also looking at the Euro New Zealand. So we have two options. So for the Euro New Zealand, the setup is very similar to what we have on the Euro AUD. Still the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we have a descending trend line. We have a descending trend line on the daily time frame. And also we have a resistance. Both of them is a confluence that is pointing us into a bearish direction. And finally, the candle that closed last Friday closed as a rejection candle. And that is this candle. So that rejection candle within the resistance zone, it also indicates, a bearish possibility on the Euro New Zealand. So all that is on the daily time frame. Now, if you flip down to 4-hour time frame, again, we can draw a trend line. This one, we can draw a second trend line at the back to give us a rising wedge pattern. So if the news again comes out bad for the euro, we may look at selling the Euro New Zealand. So I'm bearish on both the Euro AUD and the Euro New Zealand for the euro-based news event coming up this morning. Now for the pound event, I'll be looking at the GBP AUD. All right. So I'll be looking at the GBP AUD for the pound event coming up today. Now for this pound, now if you look at the screen, you'll see that GBP AUD closed as a rejection candle last Friday. Last week, the whole of last week candle closed as a rejection candle. on a resistance zone. So technically, we're looking at an opportunity to sell the GBP AUD in the course of this week. Though because there is a big gap between these candles, it's also possible to have some retracement. It's also possible to have some retracement. Retracement is a temporary movement, slightly in the bullish direction before, the bearish movement, final movement comes up. That is equally very possible. But overall, we're looking at an opportunity to sell the GBP AUD. So if you flip down to the 4-hour time frame, this is what we have. Now, this is my own view concerning this. I'm seeing this trying to form what looks a lot like a shoulder, a head, and that retracement could also happen, like I said, which will now complete the second shoulder. Then we now have a final major drop from a technical, perspective. And we can equally draw our trend line here to still give us a bearish outlook. Now, all things being equal, if the news comes out bad for the pound, if it comes out bad for the pound, then we will definitely see a major breakout straight away without forming the head and shoulder. That may happen. It may not form the head and shoulder. We may just see a complete bearish breakout. That is a possibility. However, if the news comes out good for the pound, even though we hold a bearish outlook, what I'm saying is that it's possible the news may even be a spike, sell a little, then go back upwards. If it comes out good for the pound, if you want to trade it bullish, well, it's at your discretion. But for me, I would rather wait for when the reversal finally happens. That is when it completes the shoulder. So if it comes out good for pound, it will be a short-term bullish movement. So that short-term bullish movement can give you as much as, wow, it's quite large, can give as much as 88 pips. You can trade it. If it comes out good for the pound, you can actually take a buy trade, but just note that it's for a limited period of time because eventually price will still reverse, and form the head and shoulder for a final bearish destination, which is a sell. So we are short-term bullish biased or a long-term bearish bias for the GBP AUD. What I'm saying is that if it comes out good, you can buy, but note that there is still going to be a reversal for a major move, which will be a sell. All right, so I've told you my outlook for the euros, the pound. Then the next is the dollar. We're also expecting volatility on the dollar due to the news expected. And for the dollar, I'll be looking at the USD CHF and the USD CAD. For the USD CHF, the dollar closed on a resistance level last week, Friday. And not only is it a resistance level, there's also a rejection candle. This candle here also closed as a rejection candle, and that's on the daily time frame. If we switch down to 4-hour and finally 1 hour, this is what we're seeing. If the news comes out bad for the dollar, then we'll see a massive bearish breakout straight away. However, it's also possible because there's already a kind of a space created for price to, the news may come out good or it may be neutral, in which case price may go back up to test this resistance and now make a fall from there. Now, if price goes to test the resistance, then it will end up forming a double top pattern. Then we'll now experience a massive breakout. So for me, what I'll be waiting for actually is when there's a final breakout below this trend line. That's what I will put a lot of my attention on. And that can happen outright movement if the news comes out bad, or like I said, the news may come out good, hit the resistance, then still fall. So ultimately, I'm bearish on the USD CHF, though, like I said, it's possible to have a bullish movement force, which is a slight one, before the final bearish outlook. And like I said, I'm also looking at the USD card. All right, so for the USD card, we've been having a bearish outlook on this instrument the whole of last week. Probably we may have the breakout finally this week. So don't forget we had this resistance zone on the monthly time frame, which we've been watching for a while. So if you flip down to the 4-hour time frame, this is what we have. We have price, we have a rising wedge, and we have a kind of a range going on in this zone. So if the news comes out bad for the dollar, you can safely sell the USD card. This one, I don't anticipate a slight bullish movement first. If the news comes out bad for the dollar, just go ahead and sell the USD card. At least price will target this higher low first, to target this, even though it may break out eventually for a bigger move, but at least it's going to target that higher low first. That is very possible in the course of this week that price may get there. And that's about 100 pips away. So the news comes out bad for the dollar, then you can comfortably sell the USD card. If you look at it closely too, it's actually trying to form what may look like a head and shoulder, though it's not clear at the moment. It's not so clear at the moment, but all I know is that if the news comes out bad for the dollar, you can safely sell the USD card. All right, so these are all the pairs to look at for the news events we have for today. Okay, sorry, before I close on that, if I said if the news comes out bad, you can sell the USD card, and or you can buy the New Zealand USD. You can either sell the USD card, sell the USD CHF, or you can buy the New Zealand USD. This is the New Zealand USD, and price closed last Friday on a support level on the daily time frame. This is the support level on the daily time frame. And we have a falling wedge, which will trigger price into the bullish direction. So this is New Zealand USD on the 4-hour time frame. If the news comes out and price is still just coming away from that zone, if the news comes out bad for the dollar, then you can, like I said, you can either sell the USD CHF, USD card, or you can buy the New Zealand USD. So those are three pairs we can look at for the dollar news. All right, so finally, I'll give you a sector that is purely technical and intraday also, and that is NAS 100. Okay, so this is NAS 100. You can see on the daily time frame, we have a rising wedge pattern. And when we have a rising wedge, it means we're expecting a massive bearish movement in price, especially now that the rising wedge pattern is seen on the daily time frame. So we have a rising wedge and price has touched the higher high multiple times. We have the first movement there, the second, the third, the fourth, and some few candles away, we have the fifth touch. And the important part here is the fact that price actually closed as a rejection candle last week, Friday. So technically, we're looking at an opportunity to sell the NAS 100. Now, if we zoom down to 1-hour time frame, now this needs to be traded with a lot of wisdom. Let me put it that way. Now, what I perceive may happen is this. I perceive this instrument may form a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and a drop. So we'll be looking at price breaking the neckline region, which is this zone. So in the course of today, if price, maybe trades a little more and breaks this neckline region, then you can take a sell, and you can target this next support zone as your take profit level. Price is expected to break out and at least touch this support zone. So I'm bearish on NAS 100. All right, that'll be all from my analysis for this morning. Let me quickly do a recap of all the things I've said. For the Euro news coming up this morning from 9:15 a.m. to like 10 a.m., we're bearish on the Euro AUD and the Euro New Zealand. Those are the two pairs we're looking at trading, especially if the news comes out bad for the Euro. For the dollar, we're bearish on the USD CAD and the USD CHF. If the news comes out bad for the dollar, we can either sell the USD CAD, USD CHF, or we can buy the New Zealand USD. For the pound, we are focusing our attention on the GBP AUD. Now, this one, we need to be careful with it. It could be a short-term buy or a long-term sell. The short-term buy is possible if the news comes out good for the pound, you can buy, but note that later on price will reverse eventually to a sell. And finally, we just looked at NAS 100, where we are bearish on NAS 100 on the 1 hour time frame. All right, that'll be all from my end this morning. I'll take a few questions or a few requests, and we'll round up. Okay, Abiola Balumi is asking me to check Euro USD, Maureen GDP JPY, Abiola Balumi again gold, Justin gold, Joshua Corey gold, and US oil, Ijoma gold. Okay, we have about 4 people asking about gold, so let's look at gold first, because since gold has a popular demand. All right, so this is gold on the daily time frame, and price hit a resistance sometime last week. And that resistance, due to that resistance, we've seen a kind of a decline in gold. Now, if you look at it on the bigger picture, this resistance is also forming a kind of a double top pattern on gold, where this region here is expected to be the neckline region, which is actually even a support zone. So price is expected to target this support zone. Now, if it gets to that level, two things could happen. If the double top pattern is going to hold, then price will break that neckline, which is also a support, and we'll see further breakout. And if it's not going to hold, when price gets to this support zone, then we'll see a reversal. So what I will encourage you to do now is this. Let's flip down to a lower time frame, 4 hour, 1 hour, okay. So there is no setup now at the moment. So what I would suggest we do is we'll wait for price to drop. Two things. Either you wait for price to drop to this support zone, then look for an opportunity to buy, or you can trigger a sell if price breaks below this current range. There's a range here already. You can trigger a sell if price breaks below, not above now. If price breaks below this zone, this ranging zone, you can trigger a sell for price to come to this support zone. That can be your first level of trade. And when price gets to the tip of the support, we can now anticipate a reversal in the bullish direction, where we can clearly draw a trend line from here. And this becomes a falling wedge pattern. Then we can now look for a reversal to the upside. So we have a two trade setup we can follow. First is a short-term sell when price breaks below that support zone. Then the next one is a reversal to the upside. That can take some time before it eventually evolves. But the faster one that can evolve is that support zone being broken for price to target the next support level. So we can hold a bearish outlook on gold for those asking about gold. And the potential for this as much as can be as much as about 100 and maybe 150 pips. That's actually a very massive one. So just put your attention on it and let's wait for a breakout. Okay, two people are asking about GBP, JPY also. Maureen and Joseph Ini. So I will look at GBP, JPY. All right, so this is GBP, On the 4-hour time frame, we can see we have a descending trend line and also a corresponding resistance zone right there on the 4-hour. So we can see that price is trying to we're having a see the thing is generally on the bigger picture, this JPY pairs I've been on them for quite some time. I've always said it that they all have a long-term bullish outlook. I gave the outlook for JPY last week that it was going to go bullish, and it did, going as high as about 400 pips last week. I believe we should expect further bullish movement. We should expect further bullish movement on the GBP pairs and GBP rather. Though we will not neglect the fact that there is a resistance here on the daily time frame. Pardon me, the resistance there on the daily, which is what we are seeing. So, but then if there's going to be any sell, it's going to be short term. So I want you to trade it with a lot of caution because price will still reverse back up. That is if there's going to be a sell at all, it's going to be short term. So if we're going to look for now, there's no clarity at the moment for a sell trade. And that's why you need to trade with a lot of caution. I'm not seeing any setup for sell. So if price breaks above this resistance zone, you can safely trigger a buy. But at the same time, you need to wait for a breakout, a retest, then a continuation. That's what will likely happen. A breakout, a retest, then a continuation. As per the sell trade, honestly, I'm not seeing any sell at the moment. So trade with caution. I hold a bullish outlook on the GBP JPY. All right, so I'll check Euro USD, US oil, and DJ30. They will close. My timer just beat now. I have a short time left. Euro USD. Now we have a bearish outlook on the dollar. So we should be looking at a bullish movement on the Euro USD. Now, if we go to on the technicals, um, on the monthly time frame, we can see that price is trading around the support level for Euro USD. So technically, we're looking for an opportunity to buy. We have price at support level on the monthly time frame. And if we flip down to the 4-hour, 1 hour, to be honest, it's not too sharp as I'm expecting. But if price breaks above there's a resistance zone, there's a minor resistance zone here. If price breaks above this, then we can trigger a buy on the Euro USD. So in other words, now we said we are bearish on the Euro AUD and the Euro New Zealand because those are the technical setup we're seeing. But peradventure the news on the Euro comes out good for the Euro, you can buy Euro USD, even though we are bearish technically, but in case the news comes out good, you may look at buying the Euro USD. So we're bullish on the Euro USD. US oil. For US oil, price recently hit the resistance level on the 4-hour time frame. We have a rising wedge pattern, so we're looking at an opportunity to sell. So once price breaks out below this trend line, you can look at an opportunity to sell the US oil. So we're bearish on the US oil. And finally, DJ30. DJ30 for me is a bit dicey at the moment because it's not giving clarity of direction. I remember analyzing this instrument last week. Uh, for me, it may need to touch, even if it's not going to get to this support zone, which I marked earlier. Let me remove that support zone. I'll be looking at buying it if it comes to touch this trend line, then I can be assured it can bounce up in the bullish direction. So until that happens, for me, I'll just be looking at it because it's more guaranteed to buy when it touches that trend line. That's what I'm seeing on the 4-hour. But let's go down to 1 hour. Is there anything on the 1 hour? Except we can find a support level on the 1 hour. And currently, that's not really a support. The candles are quite close. Let's watch. Let's watch as it evolves. If price will come down again to touch this place, then we have a valid support, and that can actually assist to trigger a bullish direction. So if that happens, well, all well and good. We have a valid falling wedge. Currently, we have a very valid falling wedge pattern, but then we just need a corresponding support level. So if price will fall down to this support level, then we can be sure that it can go up. Otherwise, if all that doesn't happen, then our surest bet is to wait for price to come down to hit that trend line before we see the bullish breakout. But anyway, anyhow it goes, we are actually still bullish on the DJ30. Either we have this or we have this. So either way it happens, we're bullish on the DJ30. All right, so that'll be all from my end this morning. I've answered all questions. Today will be quite, it's potentially going to be volatile due to all the news we are expecting. So please, we're expected to trade with a lot of caution. If you have running trades, please make sure you at least you have a stop loss in place just in case the news, doesn't go in line with your, with the trade you already have that is running. All right, we're going to be ending this analysis here. You're welcome, Mr. Matthew. We're going to be ending the analysis here. Take care, trade safe, and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Mr. Motasha.